ratings in the comment box or in the chat box here. So let's hear it from you guys. How are you feeling today? Oh, I can see a lot of nines. That's really exciting. Oh, wow. There's 10 also. Nice. I really like that everyone is pumped up for the session. I'm sure we all are waking up on Saturday right now, but I'm really grateful for you all to join us today. So without wasting more time in this, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to give you a very quick overview of what we are going to have today. So we will be diving into some exciting topics and hearing from the industry leaders. So when I speak about industry leaders today, we have with us Mayank Verma. He is the CEO and co-founder of Leader Universe. With over 20 years of experience in business, product strategy, and talent development. He has worked with top organizations such as PwC, Samsung, MetLife, and Casio. At Lead Up Universe, he leads initiatives like emerging CXO programs with top B schools and the Employees of the Future study. In 2022, he was recognized among the top 70 business icons of India. Along with him, we have Ars Srinivas. He's the CEO of IFASET. He is an IIM Calcutta alumni and has over 24 years of experience in education, pioneering live online test programs. He co-founded Vanguard Business School and Vista Mind, focusing on innovative MBA training and consistently delivering 100% placements. Srinivas has held key leadership roles, including president and CEO of CL Educate Aptitude Test Prep Units. Currently, he is the CEO of IIT Kanpur Foundation for Consulting Education and Training, driving impactful projects in higher education. Nonetheless, we also have been joined by Golak Kumar Simili. He is the Pramukh Salakar and CTO for Passport Seva Program, India and Global at the Ministry of External Affairs. With 30 plus years of his experience, including 15 plus years in senior role, he excels in digital governance, strategy consulting, and technology innovation. Golak sir leads the Global Passport Seva V2.0 and e-passport initiative, focusing on data security, and data strategy. His leadership has earned him 20 plus awards, including the National E-Governance Gold Award and CIO Excellence Award 2023. Wow, we have such great names amongst us. Moving on, we'll hand it over to Mayank to take us through this program and the panel discussion. Let's welcome him with a virtual claps. As you see, there is
That's
a
all right.
already there, so you can click on that for him, please.
Okay, cool. Oh, that's generous. All
Over
right,
to you,
thank you so
Mayank.
much. Thanks, Rachita. Thank you so much. And great to have leaders joining us today. I'm sure you're joining us from various places. A very warm welcome to you all. As she was saying that we are joined by some of the great leaders who've been making a lot of impact in many ways in the technology space in India, whether it's IIT Kanpur or we're talking about Passport Seva Kendra. We all know the way it's transformed the experience of consumers and various global travelers in India, right? Before we go there, it's important to understand why this webinar, what is it that IFASET or IIT Kanpur and Lead Up Universe is trying to do? What's the reason of putting it together? So I have a very short 3-4 slides.
Recording in progress.
That will help, put the context in the center, because that's important for all of us to understand. I hope we all can see my screen, right? Rachita, can you give me a heads up?
Yes, Mayank, we can.
We can see it. Okay, cool. So, so I think it was important to look at this from this context, and we all know the way the whole technology capability space is changing. The future CTO is no more about just technology capability, right? It's about how CEOs are looking at the CTO to put a technology landscape in play, how CEOs are looking at the mega trends and disruptions and around many pieces, whether it's climate or whether it's technology, how CEOs are looking at transformation and leading the change within the organization and outside the organization, so on and so forth. So I think going forward, the technology enthusiast will need to look at beyond just technology, right? So as we grow in our hierarchy in organizations, we are required to deliver more of technology leadership. And that's what we came together as Lead Up and IIT Kanpur and Srinivas, and we all got talking. And we said it's important to put a program together which is practitioner led, and it gives a very real experience to the learner. And that's where the whole piece was. And hence the building blocks, right? So as we work in our career, um, we may come from a very solid background when it comes to education, but all said and done, when it comes to IITs, it's we all know the kind of content experience learning we get. So that was our first building block for the program, putting a curriculum together, which is very impactful. The second building block was that it's very important for even technology leaders to network properly. And as we talk, Golok is right now, he's the CTO and he's sitting in Lucknow and attending a summit, right? Srinivas, being a CEO at IIT, travels so many places and networks with folks across the globe. So it's very important. So we curated this program with a very mindful, effort of putting some networking events together for technology enthusiasts to come together and know each other better. Then the practical measurable outcomes and regular assessments are very important for somebody to clear a professional certification program at IIT Kanpur. And hence that's a third building block. The fourth is, we all know, if you've got a stamp which is from a leading top B school like IIT Kanpur, career advancement is a given. So that's what we thought these building blocks will make an impact for any such program. Well, any international program that you see would have a very similar configuration: core curriculum, world-renowned faculties, a action plan, a CTO simulation where people get to learn properly what a day in the life of a CTO is like, a hybrid program with campus immersion and so on and so forth, and certification from IIT Kanpur. Well, the first batch went live with approximately 45-50 people with average experience of more than 15 years. And we are so happy because it's really delivering the impact that we spoke of in the beginning, uh, from diverse industries and from APAC, right? So that's the peer group that I'm talking about, which kind of gives a very solid exposure for any learner who wants to be rising in or accelerating in his or her career. Well, as I said, it's a practitioner-led program. In addition to the marquee names of very big names in the tech industry like Dr. Arnab Bhattacharya or Dr. B.V. Funny from IIT Kanpur, we also have renowned practitioners who are mentors in the program and who will be taking a very practical approach to the program with case-led, discussion-based, etc., approach. So that's where it is. So we started with the fundamental growth mantra that learn, unlearn, and relearn is what will keep folks relevant today and tomorrow. So hence this program has come to life, and hence this webinar today. I just stopped sharing. Any questions anyone has before I call in our guest today, Golok, as well as Arks? And I would want you all to participate, right? So that's very important for us to know each other better and also dive deeper. Okay, so no questions, I believe. So without any further ado, then Rachita would request you to do the needful. You can even type your questions in the chat box if you want, right? We have a good strength of about 70 plus people sitting here today with us. So I can see Arks now. Oh, you have a question. Go ahead, Niragulam.
Yeah, morning. Thank you.
Good morning to you.
Yeah, just want to know, like, you have consolidated the curriculum, the course of subjects, everything, considering the others who started. For example, Kellogg's and Exit started earlier globally for the CTO
Yeah, yeah,
programs. So
yeah.
you would have, based on your first batch cohort experience, you would also thought you will be adding some more subjects like AI, which is coming up. So I saw why you want to go for this course by the CEOs are expecting for the technology leadership required.
Yeah.
That was a real then. But do you think that they are recruiting anyone? Because if I'm a service delivery manager, I'm not into any of the management role where I'll be talking to the boards. So not into not never went step into the C class. So do you think that the recruitment or the expectation like from a person who middle management can easily skip into that by doing the course? Or what was the any one recruitment happened from your previous batch?
Great question. Great question. So the batch is still going on as we talk. Okay, that's number one, the fact. Number two is that there are ingredients for one to become a C-suite player. And that's the ingredient I was talking about in that 4x4 matrix of 4 building blocks, right? So we seldom network. Networking is very important. So we're creating those events and spaces. We need a very strong backing of an academic institution like an IIT, for sure.
Definitely.
Third, we need exposure to the right mentors so that we know exactly what the CTO play is all about. When I say CTO, not necessarily you need to be a global CTO or a global manager. You can even today be and I know so many folks who are young and are CTOs in a startup or unicorn or many other organizations or maybe entrepreneurs for that matter, right? Where you become a CEO, CTO, CMO, everything. So it's very important to look at the landscape and the canvas in its true sense, right? And that's what this program delivers for you.
Thank you. Thanks, Mike. Thanks.
Great. All right. So, Golok, are you with us? He's also.
Yes, I am absolutely
All
there.
right. So you will need to switch on your camera to come into the spotlight.
Yeah, I'm there. Sure.
Okay. Great question, Lucky. What would 15 years or plus years technical people need for becoming a CTO? So we will answer for that for sure in this webinar. That's the idea. So what's changing so fast in the landscape? So we will go there. And I'm sure many questions will get answered because this is going to be a very interesting, and I'm very excited about this conversation today. Okay, so to begin with, and thank you so much, Arks and Golok, for taking out the time and joining us. Great pleasure to have you here today with us in the webinar. And for the interest of everyone, I think I'll start with Arks, you first, saying that, IIT Kanpur, you're one of the first institutions working with METI to put something around education together. What are you seeing as a fundamental shift in the technology landscape and the capabilities which such institutions like yourself are trying to fill?
Sure. In fact, a very good question to start with. And why is that an IIT is doing certification programs? In fact, all of us are going through, many certification programs across the board. Every university and its uncle is doing it, to be very, very honest. How do we fit in the first place? How do we differentiate ourselves in the first place? Or why do we even want to do that when there is a BTech, an MTech, a PhD, an MS by research, various things which are already existing? What is the reason why you need a certification? Now, let me give a very simple answer for that. The technologies that we're talking about, everybody talks about emerging technologies for that matter. By the time a technology comes into academic world as such, the requirement has hit the roof already. When we're talking about, for example, cybersecurity or Gen AI, let's take the one which everybody talks about, Gen AI. I think November 2023 till ChatGPT 3 and 4 and came in, people were still thinking that AI is going to be there for the future. Whereas today, within 6 months to 8 months, we're talking about a Gen AI also. It's not that this concept was not there. Now, everybody wants to talk about only Gen AI and nothing else. Now, let's look at an IIT kind of a system or an IIM kind of a system, because I come from both. It takes time to get the academic rigor. Most of the researchers, the faculty members are already doing this research. In fact, Professor Arnab Bhattacharya, who is the kind of helping us to do this program has been in AI and Gen AI for the last so many years. But
Yeah.
what needs to be done and how it has to go to the industry and how industry should adapt it will have a gestation period, will have a lag kind of things. How do I ensure that a MTech who graduates or a PhD also graduates, or for that matter, a BTech who is just a graduate in that sense, but a high level graduate, gets the inputs for this? Point number one. By the time they get the input, a new technology would have come. That is one. Second, what about the people that we are talking to right now itself? 15 years, 20 years, 10 years, 25 years of experience, each one, including myself. When I did my MBA way back in 1997, I think the best thing that I did was Lotus 123, not even Excel. I'm sure some of you will relate to that. But today, there are lots of things that have changed. So hence, whether it's an IIT or an IIM or any of the institutes in the world are coming out with certain specific certification programs, which kind of blend in with whatever traditional requirements are there to the latest technology inputs that are required for the industry also, for the faculty also, for the people also. And that is the reason why we come into existence. Point one. And how does IIT Kanpur and this, EICT Academy and IFACET come into picture? Just very quickly, I'll give you a listen. 2016 or 2015, when I think Modi came into, Mr. Modi came as the Prime Minister, one of the things that he wanted to do was that India has to be a digital India. I'm sure all of you have heard of it hundreds of times, but we see it sitting in IIT Kanpur, really how that's transforming and how much of push is being given from the central government side. The Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology envisaged that 12 lakh, 1.2 million faculty members have to be trained in technology and the changes in the technology, so that the next level, 65 lakh students get graduate every year in this country. While I can try to teach the students, but if at least the faculty members are aware of what is technology, their ability to kind of pass it on to the next level and the students, and kind of India becoming a real digital India was the vision that the central government had. And that is where the EICT academies were formed. IIT Kanpur was one of the pioneers in that. In fact, we were the best in terms of doing it online, much before COVID came into picture too. And today we are also, IIT Kanpur is the only one which has been given the freedom to do this online training programs, not only for faculty, while that is what started off in 2016-17, but also for student development programs, and most importantly, the professional development programs. And that is where we come together, Mayank. And obviously that cannot be done only by the faculty members of IITs or these things. We kind of collaborate with various other IITs and NITs at the same time. Yet we also kind of make sure that the industry practitioners, some of you are already doing it, we kind of put them together so that we come out with a winning product as such. Mike.
Thanks so much. I think that was helpful, very, very much helpful. Golu, coming to you, we know that you've been doing a lot of trunky, large-scale impact technology deployment, right? And you hold a position where you're talking to ministries, you're talking to a lot of vendors and technology agents and a lot of ecosystem that you've built over years. But the fact is that there are also very young people who are becoming leaders or CTOs. What is so fundamentally shifting now as a requirement to be a CTO? And I think that was also one of the questions asked just in the beginning of the session. So would love to know from you that how does the life of a CTO is, and what does one require to grow there, right? In today's context, because it's accelerating for everybody.
No, thank you, Mayank, and let me also thanks Sriji who has joined, Rachita, and at the outset, let me also thanks all the participants who have joined us, about this webinar. I think to start with, Mayank, let me give some of the backflash on my own journey, right? To start with, I can say that I had grown up from a very remote village somewhere in Jharkhand, probably those point of time, no electricity, no water, no road kind of a thing. And from there on, if we see this technological journey forward today, I think those were the time when someone growing up trying to understand, saying that what are the challenges we are in hand? Why is that there are so many gaps exist within the country in terms of those divides, those no kind of a barriers? And if you start, why only CTO, CIO, CDO at large, I'll say, but of course, this program, we are focusing on the CTO per se or CDO, CIO per se. But I think those were the days I used to start thinking that can I bring some iota of change of those gapping into those barriers, bridging those barriers, making some sense of existence of those masses, those citizens of the country who probably otherwise away from those beneficiaries, those no kind of a government ecosystem at large or private
True.
ecosystem at large, industry ecosystem at large. So I think the CIO CTO journey, if you ask my frank opinion, should be looking into those direction rather than focusing on the technology bit per se. Technology is there. Technology is there to help you. Technology is there to support you. Technology is there to kind of a guide through where and how quickly. How do you achieve those skills at a kind of a shorter span of time? How do you create such kind of a transparency and accountability to bridge those gaps? And also in terms of the governance structure, very important. I think as a CTO, as a CIO, what or where probably we are not able to deliver, where we are not able to add to the boardroom. I think some participant was asking that, no, I have time to reach to the boardroom, but then what is my role there in this particular course? But I'll tell to that gentleman saying that you have the biggest role for the decision maker in the boardroom to take that particular decision, to take that particular investment forward, to take that kind of a bigger cause they are looking for. So without you, how is that they exist? So that is the potential probably you need to bring in as a CTO or as a CIO or as a CDO. That is the first thing. The second thing is, as I was talking about my own journey, when you cross through various phases as your own journey as a CTO or CIO, day one you don't become a CTO in any case, or day one you don't become a CIO in any case. So you have passed through a journey, right? You have crossed a journey which you have yourself seen those journey yourself. Neither Mayank know about that journey, neither Sri knows about that journey, neither I know about those journeys, right? And if you have missed those kind of studying, understanding those situation where you have gone by, then again probably reaching to the CTO and just you are looking into one direction, and probably many of you are no will not even reach to those positions, CTO and CIO. So the second is, how do you strategically align your technological sense into the business sense, right? And when I say,
Again.
when you align technology into the business sense, there are four very basic mantras I give it to every CTOs and CIOs who actually kind of a try to bring a change or look for a bigger picture. The first mantra is, how do you embrace technology in terms of which I call adopt, adapt, and evolve. So first and foremost thing is, you first embrace technology, which I call adopt. Must adopt it, right? And how do you adopt it? Unless you adapt it, that means you are trying to, after you adopt technology, you are trying to bring a specific change, and that a specific change could be in the processes, businesses, policies at large, or overall ecosystem at large. Let me quote one example so that our friends can connect. When I was given the kind of a what I'll say, the responsibility, I'll say, no, I will not say CTO, I'll say the responsibility of bringing passport transformation to the masses at large. And today I am delivering 90,000 passport related services daily. to Indian citizens and global diaspora at large. Now, do you really think that my aim was, first aim was naturally to give a no kind of a easy and hassle-free passport services to, let's assume that 1 lakh citizens daily. But my aim was a bigger aim. My aim was passport is not merely a travel document. Passport enables you globally. Passport enables you economically. Passport enable your business sense. Passport enables your educations and other trips when you are, and that is the only document. So while you are enabling passport as a services and giving a kind of a easy and smooth services to citizens, the biggest sense was my economy. How do I add into the value of the economy? How can I empower a citizen which is maybe coming from a remote village trying to study abroad? How can I empower that citizen? How can I make that citizen inclusive to the ecosystem? Right? So the technology alignment has to be for the larger cause, for the larger goal. And those goals, again, as I said, that will not come per se if you think as a CTO and CIO. You have to come out of your those mindset of technological four walls, and then you give technology as a sense to kind of a breach those or go beyond boundaries and think of a larger core or for a greater good. The second very important point is, which we generally miss as a CTO and CIO or as a CDO, is when you are bringing those transformation, bringing those changes, bringing no easy and kind of a strategic growth for the organization at large, or the other stakeholders who is joining with you in their business sense or service sense or product and solution sense. The other problem what we do is always we look technology as a retrofit, right? I mean, you have a problem, you have a business to drive, you have a ecosystem to deal with, you have a stakeholders to deal with, you have beneficiary and customer to deal with. But what you did, first purchase technologies and then trying to retrofit technology into all these problems. How does it work? It doesn't work. I should have gone other way. I should have gone saying that what is my citizens or beneficiary or customer is looking from me. Assume, let me quote another example. Assume that a passport seeker seeking a passport services somewhere from northeast, where there is no internet connection, or even if there is a poor internet connection. The geographically, otherwise there are challenges. Literacy wise, there is a challenges, right? There are many challenges. If I have to, let's say, tackle to that audience. Now, when I'm bringing such technology to omit that particular gap, I should have gone through those first problems areas, the policy changes needed, the governance structure needed, right? And then probably I should have thought into the technology which will actually fit it. So the problem what we end up as a CTO and CIO, when you develop product and solutions, you always try to retrofit with the problem. It must not be. Your problem must be analyzed, kind of a plan, design, completely, which I say in my own term, trying to overall the problem in hand and then try to think of solution and products.
Makes
So to
sense,
start
yes.
with, these are the three things I thought I'll bring in.
No, absolutely. Yeah. No, it makes a lot of sense. Connecting the dots, the first one you talked about, looking at all the variables, connecting the dots and making it happen, seeing beyond the role, going beyond what is so obvious visible. I think as a CTO, as people grow in their career, they need to start looking at beyond the role. That piece you talked about is customer centricity. How do you look at the problem and then come in rather than retrospecting the technology that you have and going ahead? Fantastic. I think there's been one question there which somebody DM'd me, asked, and I'll come to you, is that what are some of the pieces in the program that can help one learn to accelerate the career in this direction?
Very good. In fact, I thought you would put it across together as a what we plan to
Yeah,
do actually in the program itself, which you should be doing it probably.
at a later stage, yes. I'll do
But
that.
I'll just take off from where Mr. Golak has left off, saying that, look, adopt, adapt, and evolve kind of things. My understanding of a CTO is not just understanding technology. I think we understand that. And see, technology can be used or not used based on the business as such that you're doing. I think every one of us works on the business parts of it. And whether a technology that you want to use, like not to retrofit, again, using Golakji's words, is to figure out what business problem are we solving, and therefore what technology can get utilized to make sure that your business becomes easier kind of things. So in our program, what we are trying to do is there are 3-4 things which are extremely important. One, while because it's a CTO program, we are definitely going to focus on various emerging technologies. That goes without saying. But there are 3 areas which are, I think, extremely important. And I think I'll answer to that. The first gentleman who asked, can I become a CTO quickly? Remember, that question was very important. Is that, look, you can become a CTO not just by having technology. You need to have understanding of leadership. You need to understand financial landscape. And you need to understand people management. CTO is not just about, to my mind, understanding technology, because that's going to be done at a very young age also. But what is important is that you need to also, along with that, understand your people skills, your business skills, and your strategic leadership skills. What we are trying to do with our program, Mayank, I'm sure in the discussion we have done so many times, is that it is not only going to be that I'm going to teach you technology, but I'm going to teach you an overview of management. And therefore, one more minute I'll take to understand I'm sure some of these people who are there listening to me are also MBAs. When I did my MBA way back in 1997, 95, 97, there was a subject called human resource management or organizational behavior. I don't think there was more drier subject, more boring subject, and the more hated subject than that at that point of time. And I'm being very honest. Except that, of course, the only reason I used to go to that class is because of a professor, Leena Chatterjee. By the way, she was one of the best professors that we had. And she used to kind of make it very interesting and less of dryness kind. But we never understood how important people management, for example, is. Only when you come to the leadership position, you will understand, hi sir, all that we supposedly done is the most important thing 10 years down the line. And today I use it almost day in and day out without thinking. Same thing with strategy. So what we are trying to do, gentlemen and ladies, all of you in the session, in the program, in the CTO program, is to inculcate those areas which you would have done 15 years back, 10 years back, or in passing, or through experience, structure it in such a way that you get it along with understanding the technology which can be put to use for your business.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. No, we will be giving them a quick view of the trimester and how the program is configured and the structure of it. But I thought from a larger perspective, 50,000 feet view, it would be nice for them to know from you. Gulu, coming to you, I think just an extension of what he has just explained. How do you see this at play? You work with so many technology leaders today, right? Because you are at a very high level position. You would have technology leaders who are taking care of certain technologies for deployment, working with vendors, ecosystems, managing ministries, managing big bosses, etc. What do you see are the key capabilities sitting there? Is it more of technology capability, or is it more of people management, stakeholder management, agenda setting, driving the agenda with the folks, ensuring they're influencing them better, ensuring that even the minutes of meeting going a proper way? Let's come to the rudimentary part of it. So how do you see that? What is more important?
No, absolutely. I think Sriniji has already touched upon saying that how do you develop yourself, and to answer your question, it combination of both. It's not in silos. It combination of both. And like Sriniji has said, saying that I think somewhere on the journey you need to develop yourself from a lead to a leader to a strategic leadership, which I say. Now, when you are developing yourself from a lead to a leader to a strategic leadership, I think understanding of those, as I said, I typically basket them into 4 baskets, right? And the first basket is the people, right? So, as a organizational structure or a organizational culture at large, when you're dealing with people, and not only within the organization, as you rightly said, when we deal with our senior management, political bosses, so everyone together, I'm saying. So that's your skill, soft skill you need to develop. Technology will not bring in that in any case. That you have to learn, again, unlearn, do courses like what we are today here. No, IIT Kanpur, the one CTO program which we are discussing today. So how you position yourself from leadership to a strategic leadership position, and to do that, first basket to understand is, are you in a position to deal with that workforce, deal with the people at large, deal with the senior management at large, right? How do you align those people to understand your strength? That is the technology which you are bringing in, right? That we call, can you develop a digital ethos and ecosystem right from the lowest hierarchy to the top management? Can you do that, right? So that is your first step if you are trying to develop into a strategic position. The second is the governance and execution model. Very important. Once you have understood the first part, W, when you are dealing with the governance and the execution part, another two very important comes to my mind is, which I call them understanding your workload, right? And understanding the workforce and workspace. How do you understand this? Do you really understand the business in hand? Do you really understand the data you are trying to govern? Do you really understand the people in hand you are trying to govern? Do you really understand the stakeholder positioning you are doing, right? Second is the governance and execution model is really, I think, some disturbance.
Guys, would request you to go on mute in case you are not talking. Rachita, can you do the needful, please?
I would request you to unmute yourself because I've muted everyone right now.
Okay. Golok, you will need to unmute yourself, please.
And Srinivas, even
Yeah.
you can unmute yourself.
Yeah. So,
Thanks.
yeah. So, what I say telling is, first is the understanding the people. How do you align, realign them with the business proposition, the management, a stakeholder, all together, right? The second, I talk about the governance and execution. How do you take care of that? And when you are doing that, you must understand your workload in hand. Workload is nothing but the business in hand, the data in hand. How do you govern that? Is that, are you aligning that with the workforce in hand? Are you aligning that to the workspace which you are dealing with, right? For an example, again, since I always quote example so that they can connect. Now, let's say I'm dealing with a masses of 90,000 Delhi. Let's say I'm dealing with a 37 passport offices across India. Let's say I'm dealing with a 93 passport seva kendra across India. Let's say I'm dealing almost 450 post office passport seva kendra across India. And also I'm dealing with my global embassies and consulate more than 190. Do you really think that this is humanly possible? Absolutely not. And technology is the only savior for that, right? But is that technology alone is doing that? That means governance is very tightly and closely intact with that technology when I'm making a technology sense. That means also I am saying that the third, which is the core, is the customer, the citizen. So citizen, governance, technology, and the execution, the way you execute it. For an example, now I'll talk about innovation as a technologist. How do you innovate? Its CTO is not about technology. How do you innovate? How do you create new business opportunities as a CTOs? I have done a lot of innovation as a technologist, right? While I was dealing with such a scale, while I was dealing with such kind of a variation of stakeholders, while I was dealing with this kind of a barriers in gaps, while I was dealing with global picture, my embassies and consulate, I had to innovate in terms of business model, in terms of service delivery, in terms of engaging the industry in fora. A lot of innovation has gone here, right?
True.
So that is the second quarter, Mike. That is the second quarter. The third is the rules of engagement. Please do not forget. I always say that please do not forget. I'll also request Sriniji must include a module here to the CTO course saying that how do you align technology to your rules of engagement? And rules of engagement are nothing but your compliances, regulation, and law of the land. Tomorrow,
True. And that's part of it, yes.
yeah, tomorrow, if you go somewhere wrong, where do you land? You land into the court of law. And if it is not aligned to those rules of engagement, you are completely in a haywire. You are completely in a mess as a technology leader.
If I can
Right?
just
Yes. Yeah.
intervene here, you're right, Golokji. One of the things that we do in technology is cybersecurity. All of us understand it.
Absolutely.
There
I'm
is a
coming to
business
that.
continuity plan
Yeah.
in case of a serious, disruption in the technology that you have used. Because
Absolutely.
what happened in that cloud, this one, just few days back, where
Azure thing
yeah,
happened here.
in Microsoft Azure, the
I
thing
know.
went for a toss.
Proceed.
Business continuity plan is equally important. And as a CTO, I think there is one obvious requirement that whenever you're looking at rules, regulations, and I think you have hit the nail on the head, is when you're ensuring that the governance is happening, also make sure that there is a backup.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I was coming to that on the risk management. That is we call technology as per the risk management. Yeah. So I was in the third quarter saying that the rules of engagement. And fourth, and just see when I was explaining this, I'm talking to our audiences, the CTOs, CIOs who have joined today or any others who are listening to this. What now I am coming. So I started with people processes. I talk about governance and execution. I talk about innovations, creating new opportunities. I then talk about rules of engagement, which is compliance and regulations. And then now I am coming about tools, technologies, and risk management. So that is my last basket, right? But all these baskets has to be aligned together. Everyone has to be aligned together to give an impact, what impact I'm looking at a business sense, what impact I'm looking to in terms of opportunity and organizational growth, strategic growth, investment opportunities, what impact I'm giving in sense of bridging those gaps which we discuss about. And last but not the least, when I'm doing all those areas together, trying to put them in order, I think, Srini, you brought out very clearly saying that the risks, the business continuity. And to deal with that risks to that business continuity, I must bring in now data into the core. And when I'm dealing with the data, two things goes, I'll say very tightly together, which is the data security and data privacy. So in all sense, ultimately, if I'm not able to deal with that data, which I'm generating, which I'm harnessing, which I'm giving a business sense, which I'm giving a user experiences, in all sense, if I'm not at the end able to deal with those data security and those privacy concerns, again, as a CTO, as a CIO, as a CDO, I somewhere went completely wrong. And that will not happen at the end. That has to start at the beginning of the exercise. So data security and privacy, risk management, business continuity has to start day one. What the other problem CTO, CIO, CTO try to do is, again, they try to retrofit. It must not be. It should be secure by design. It should be secure by planning. it should be at the starting point. It must not be retrofitted. So that's how I
True.
again put it.
True.
Thank you.
No, no, absolutely makes a, and that's how it is. I think going forward, all those capabilities are needed for leaders to come in. And I think more and more as I'm talking to my CEO friends, they say that we have questions for our technology leaders around how do we look at disruption in the future? How can we be the leaders to adopt technology in the right way? For example, there are a lot of CEOs that I know in Gurgaon who we work with very closely. They say, we want our technology leader to come back to us and tell us that how they can make our organization accelerate in the technology space by using AI. You know, I don't want to be another engine which creates a ILM, for example. They say that we want somebody to come in and tell us that how we can actually accelerate the technology space for ourselves and make our advancements using what is there already being done by others. So there's a lot of leverages also that CEOs are wanting the technology leaders to look at, how the leverages can happen. The second challenge, and
Just
I think which
one
we are,
quick point,
yeah,
Mayank,
please.
because since you have touched upon AI, Gen AI, emerging technology, and again, since CIOs, CTOs are drawn through these jargons, no, I must be making them a cautious mark, saying that you must leverage Gen AI, you must leverage cloud potential of cloud, blockchain, 5G, all of these, which I am doing
True,
now by the way. But only if, which I told before, if those are in place, if your governance structure is not in place, if your policies and regulation are not aligned to the governing structure, if your people and processes are not aligned, believe me, trying to harness this next level of technology, whether it is next AI, Gen AI, or any other sort of a technology, it will land into the flip side of technology, right? So the cautious mark here is leveraging such technology has a lot of opportunities, ample opportunities. But I always say that first, bring your house in order. Understand
true,
those governance issues, policy issues, align them,
true,
workforce,
true,
organizational at large, and then you harness. You'll have
true.
ample of opportunities. So yeah, so that's how I
Fantastic.
thought.
Yeah. So before I quickly give our audience and guests who have joined us a quick view of how the program is structured, I'll just ask people if you have any question for the panel, please feel free to ask them. Okay, there are a couple of comments here. Okay, so I'm interested to know how to become CTO for startups and with established startups. Okay, so that's why we are getting the configuration of leaders coming together in events where you can network with them and understand that what are the possible opportunities in the market apart from what is there. And Srinivas, you want to add here? Yes, please.
Yeah. So the same person, Lucky, asked a question. I don't want to be studying, but I want to know how to become a CTO through a journey kind of things. The fact of the matter is learning cannot stop. Point number one. Every time a new technology, new area, new idea comes in, I think you need to go back to your building blocks and figure out where it works. But where these kind of programs help is in the networking that you exactly touched upon right now, Mayank. You learn not only in the class. In fact, whenever we have our professors teaching, it's not a one-to-many teaching that is going on. It's a many-to-many learning in that sense. And even the teacher is
True.
learning on a regular basis. It is not that I know everything. Absolutely not. It's impossible right now with the kind of information overload. But the idea is with varied experiences that people come with, I think that interaction is what is going to be fantastic, which we don't have it in your own organization because you are that one individual or a few individuals. You don't have an overview of what's happening around the world. One other question which came in is, how is a CTO in an IT organization different from a CTO in an oil and gas sector, for example? Now, this kind of a question, basically, it also differs from what kind of a technology is used in again, IT organization is such a large thing. It's like a minefield there. Where do we touch? Which IT organization are we talking about? Oil and gas is one manufacturing, one area. There are multiple manufacturing fields. For example, I worked with manufacturing in automobiles a long time back. That is completely different from oil and gas, probably. How do you learn that? And that learning is what you get through these sessions on a regular basis, especially weekends, where 15, 10 to 20 years of experienced people, along with a faculty member who is also a CTO or a similar kind of a level. I think that is what we are trying to provide in a nutshell, if I would say so.
Sure. And I think that also answers the question by Anand saying that how I am going to align myself with CTO after completing the course. There are ingredients to becoming a CTO, and we've been talking about that in the last, I think, 40, 45 minutes. And these ingredients are very important. We sometimes feel that we are great coders, so hence we should become technology leaders. When you become a CTO or a technology leader in a company, I think coding is what your team does. But what the leaders in the panel have been also talking, that you have to look beyond the role. You have to look in the market, connecting the dots. You have to be great at managing people and talent under you. You have to be great at making the company digitally ready, which is mindset wise ready, and not digitally ready, which is technology wise ready. Many a times these leaders in the organizations confuse technology ready with mindset ready. These are two different dimensions, which today it's asked by CEOs to the technology leader to do it. You make my company digitally ready in the mindset of the leaders in the company, so that adoption happens of the leader of people in the company on technologies that we're using. So it's more and more becoming complex, and hence I agree with one of the comment which came in. It's a chaos in the market. For you to stand out, learning is the only solution. You have a comment to make, Golok, before I go into showing them what the program
I think Srinivas has
yeah.
already touched, and you have already touched again to the gentleman who asked this question, saying that learning never stops. I think recently I completed 1 year. That was after so much of a busy schedule. I had to take out time, and 1 year of advanced diploma in business strategy I just completed from Accelerate. So learning never stop. I mean, who says no learning stops? It's goes on, and that's how you move forward. You on the ladder, understand the bigger ecosystem at large. Srini very well said that. When you interact with people, when you interact with this kind of audiences, professors, who bring in so much of expertise on their own sense, you will understand that, hey, I was thinking I know everything, but probably I know 15-20% of that. So that's how it is. Yeah.
Great. One more question comes in. So Arav is saying that, expectation of CTO, would that be changing, and how does one balance it between overview of technology or being hands-on? So I think we answered that, saying it's more important to be a people's person, a leader in true sense. You can hire talent after becoming a technology leader, and they can do the technology part for you. But it's very important that you look at building your capability.
And add to that, Mayank, Arav, very, very importantly, you need to be on top of what is changing. For example, one very small thing that I'm saying, I think we've been used to it for a very, very long time, having our own servers in our own organizations and, working through such a kind of a mode. But how do we use completely cloud and cloud computing is the order of the day. The change is going to be not easy. As a CTO, like Golokji has correctly said, we need to make sure that the transition happens, not just technology or usage of the new technology, but the entire people management and the mindset that Mayank you were talking about, so that we are not afraid of, foregoing what we have and getting into the new areas.
True. I'll just quickly, thanks so much. I'll just quickly walk the folks through what the program entails, so that you have more clarity on what will you learn if you come into this program. It's important because it's been put together with a lot of careful ideation and design. Let me just quickly share my screen, and I hope you can see my screen, right? So
yes.
If you can, quick, yeah. So if you see, it's built up with these four dimensions. One is classroom learning over weekends that happens. Typically, these are the hours. There's a CTO simulation, a kind of an action learning project that goes on with technology leaders. There are master classes which happen with CXO leaders, and there is campus immersion, and that's where this the program executive program alumni base, which is the folks of the program will come together and learn with each other, and that's 2 days at IIT Kanpur campus, right? So this happens as a configuration for you. Uh, the journey itself, if this is just an example, if it starts in July and goes up till February, it's a packed piece which our panel leaders have also been talking about. What is strategic leader all about? How to be a financial, expert or understand financials? How to be people manager or people leader? What do you look at when it comes to technology depth with the upcoming technologies? The regulation and compliance we've been talking about. What is governance to look at as a technology leader? And how to be a trusted advisor to the CEO, right? Or the leaders that you work with, the stakeholders that you work with, because as we are all saying that CTO tak jaane ke liye, there is a journey you need to travel. So today it may not be CXO peers, but your stakeholders, right? So how do you actually make a impression there? Uh, Also with the same thing, it's important to understand that there are technology pieces that we're talking about: Gen AI, blockchain, data security, data science, and so on and so forth. So that will also get covered, but it's very important to understand that as we move forward after our 10 years, 15 years of experience, it's very important to look at some of the critical pieces which are mentioned on the first leg or the first block. Yeah. Uh, if it's a trimester, and it is actually a trimester system. So term 1, term 2, term 3 will happen along with CTO simulation cutting across these terms, which gives you a life in the CTO and what kind of complexities a leader has to go through so that you learn hands-on. And it has, because it's IIT Kanpur program, it has its own attendance and evaluation criteria for receiving the final professional certificate. And their criteria are typically, it's grades and assignments and attendance and so on and so forth. And also CTO simulation is there. Since you all are working executives, and if you come into the program, there is a minimum attendance of 70% that we have kept and a minimum 50% marks. So that kind of gives you a quick view of what the program is all about and what it kind of contains from a content perspective. And I think my colleague has already shared the curriculum view in the chat, which is gone to everybody. So that's what it is all about. I think we are coming to the closure to the program. Any last minute questions? I think we can take that up with the panel, or you have any questions about the program, I'll be more than happy to answer. But yes, that's what we are trying to do. Okay, couple of questions. Bhavani Shankar says, how do you see a role of CTO in financial services industry, especially in government or financial institutions? I think Srinivas did answer that question by saying that how is it different than oil and gas and other institutions, right? I think it's the same thing, but I'll still see if Srinivas or Golok wants to answer that. CTO in financial services industry, especially in government or financial institutions. How is it so different?
Yeah, quickly, I'll take this. Financial services at large, banking industry at large, because since I have worked myself more than 2 years in Reserve Bank, now if you see the fintech sector at large, right, there are enough kind of a technological intervention still needed in terms of tracking those financial frauds, in terms of tracking those financial transactions at large, and bringing technology wherein, I think many of you have heard about something we call today open banking is a reality, right? How had it become a reality in today's fintech sector? Because of, there are two very important things here. We are able to exchange data between a financial seeker and a financial provider with a secure channel with the consent of the consumer, right? So this is just one of the example which is a reality now. Assume that if a financial transactions could be added to the passport issuance system, including when you are crossing the border, Bureau of Immigration, or doing any transaction globally where my central bank as a regulator would be able to track that. I can also take a policy decision what are transactions being done outside India, within India. Just imagine a scenario. So it's about opportunities are enough, whether it is a banking sector, financial sector, fintech sector at large. And as I rightly said, now since data is becoming the core of every sectoral transformation, whether it is a fintech sector, governance sector, any sector, how do you drive data through technology? Having said that, bringing those compliance policies, rules in intact. And then if you look into the fintech sector, I think journey is enormous. Opportunities are enormous. Innovation opportunities, creating new business sense for the service seeker customer at one side, the organization you are dealing with itself, and overall in terms of, let's say, creating a new venture, going for a kind of a joint venture kind of a scenario, and then developing new product and solutions within the financial sector itself. So there are a lot of scope, and it's already happening. I think we all are realizing, saying that fintech sector is one of the sector where technology revolution is continuously happening. It will continue to happen, and there are a lot of technology which I said the evolvements will happen continuously. It will happen, right? Blockchain could be one of the major thing which is going to hit on the financial sector. GenAI is one of the bigger thing going to hit the financial sector. Cloud is already in the reality today. So there is no dearth of it. That's how I put it. Thank you.
True. True. Aks, would you want to add to that?
Very simply, for the financial sector or whatever, what I see it here also in fintech is that open banking is something perfectly one very, very key word that he has used. Extreme automation, or for example, you don't look at blockchain everywhere. Blockchain is a very, very strong thing for financial ledgers in that sense of the word. Cyber security. I mean, it's so easy to say cybersecurity, but there are multiple levels of cybersecurity that we are talking about at the network level, at the client level, at the website level, etc. kind of things. And lastly, one of the areas that especially emerging technologies is going to change the way financials are done. I don't know. I'm sure all of you have heard of the SWIFT system, wherein it takes almost 48 hours for any shift of money to happen between one country to another. I think with the kind of quantum computing coming in and India's own UPI coming in, it could be within minutes, not just forget about hours also. I think as a financial services player, as a top fintech player or a financial services player, your understanding of technology here and its effect on outcome of your business is going to be very critical. And the more you learn, the better for you. But you need to understand the financial side of it, and not to forget the rules and regulations and governance that I think Golakji has very correctly said. I think the combination, what Mayank, I think you and I, we've discussed this also, we need to understand is, it is not one single thing that one picks it up. It's a combination of 4 or 5 things. And that's the reason why you become a CTO. You don't become a CTO just for the heck of it. I think you need to be able to, put together people, process. Lucky is saying, is it only that kind of things? Of course it is that. And understanding technology to put it to the right use.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. So that's where it is. Any last questions? Otherwise, I think we are good to close and bring it to a nice, if Reliance Industries needed a CTO for the organization, what all required, expected from a CTO. I think that's what Golok has been talking about, that how the CTO is being looked at by the community today. It's changing, guys. It's changing rapidly. The questions that are asked by the CEO or by the board to a CTO has changed drastically in the last 5-6 years. How the West is looking at gig economy to bring in experts who are CTOs or equivalent CTO capability to advise organizations is coming at play. how folks who have worked in a certain technology space are being talked about or are being pulled in by India leadership. A lot of permutation combinations are happening, right? And I think it will keep emerging. All this program does, or all that our panel leaders have been talking about, is to keep yourself ready. That when the time comes, then you know what to do with your capability that you have kind of invested in with such programs. That's the only mantra that we're looking at, so that we contribute in the right way to ensure that people are absolutely ready when the time comes. And as is the time is now, because technology is the space which has been doing what all we've been seeing in the last so many years, right? So that's where it is. The USP of this program, wow. USP are many. IIT Kanpur is the biggest USP. The second USP is that the program is led by practitioners and IIT Kanpur faculties. The third USP is that it has a CTO simulation, which kind of gives you and prepares you well to lead technology, understand technology, which is emerging, the new technology space, as I've been saying, generative AI, blockchains, cybersecurity, data science, etc. At the campus, you will actually go through the technology pieces in depth with some of the best faculties at IIT Kanpur. You will go through technology depth with practitioners coming from leading organizations, talking about how the technology has been implemented. So it's a nice mix of knowledge, implementation, and networking. And I think the other big piece that it gives you is a great network of peers in this program, right? And that's what we are building as the program alumni base, right? Which is to say that all these executives going forward will become a huge network of folks in India and for example, right now we have people from Middle East in the program. So that's where it is. It may be coming down. Some technology will keep coming down, going up. So that's always the cycle of technology. But right now, it's important to learn how leaders are using technology, how the technology is playing the right game for organizations to progress, scale, grow. And that's what you learn in this program, right? With practitioners, you learn the technology with technology leaders and faculties, as I've been saying. You get a professional certificate from a leading university, you get a great peer group and a network of folks. So that's where we are. And that's what the program delivers for you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Great. Over to you, Rachita. I think
and there's one question where they are asking if there is placement assistance on the program.
Placement assistance. No, we're creating a space for people to network right, to meet the right folks, to get to know the right mentors. Then it's up to you to completely position yourself in the best way possible. We do such programs with XLRI, we're doing with IIT Kanpur now, we're doing with IIM Udaipur. And let me tell you honestly, there is no placement that happens in the West, by the way. It's only a concept in the East, is what I know.
Incidentally, even in IITs and IIMs, nobody says that we will definitely give you placement assistance. It's just that to a large extent in all these places, it is the students who come together with a little bit of an assistance from the faculty members to generate opportunities for themselves. So genuinely don't expect that we are a placement agency. I mean, absolutely not the reason why one should look at this. It's a real learning and real
absolutely.
I think many of them can become themselves as an entrepreneur and give that placement to others.
True.
So
true. Great. Over to you, Rachita.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mayank, Arts, and Golak sir, for being here and sharing your insights and your time with us. And I think it was a wonderful session. We had so much to learn from it. And I'm sure people have more questions, but due to time constraints, we cannot answer them all. But you can definitely reach out to us at the email ID that I have just mentioned here in the chat box. You can, and our advisors will get in touch with you, and we hope that few of you guys will enroll for this program and become the next CTO in the running. As we have come to the end of the session, now I would request you guys to please fill in the feedback form, and so that we can share the recordings with you, as well as any further queries regarding the program or any other queries related to becoming a CTO, we will be happy to answer those questions for you all. Thank you so much for everyone joining in. I hope I would request my team to share the feedback link. Yes, it has been shared by Stuti here in the comment box. Meanwhile, if someone has any questions, you're free to unmute yourself and ask your questions. And I would request our speakers to say, just put a one-liner for everyone, a thing that you feel that is very much required to become a CTO in this generation. A small one-liner for everyone. Meanwhile, everyone fills in their feedback for us. Golak sir?
No, I'd say think as a CTO, how do you add to the larger cause of the nation for a greater good? Thank you.
That's exactly, I think it's a very, very wonderfully put, Golakji. I think you need to be a business manager first to be a CTO also. And I think that blend is what will make you a great CTO and an aspiring CEO later on too.
Thank you, Srinivas sir. Mayank, any closing words from your end?
Constantly changing world, you need to constantly learning. That's the only mantra.
Thank you so much.
Thanks,
All right,
Sata.
then.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your
Thank you,
time.
Golakji.
And
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
I really would like to thank all the audience who has joined us on a Saturday morning, and really grateful for you guys. And we look forward to hosting you at the IIT program someday, or for the coming batch that we are looking at. So have a great afternoon and day, everyone. And signing off, Rachita from here.
Thank you.
And please take care of yourself. Thank you.
Take care.
Thank
Thank
you
you so
very much.
much. Thank you so much,
Have a good day.
everyone.
Thank you, Mayank. Great.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rachita.